So I've had the clutch go out on the International AC clutch. So I got a new clutch, new compressor, AC, so I think it's accumulator valve, and the dryer. Got new O-rings to put on there. The compressor came with 3 ounces of oil. I'm gonna take the plug out, drain this oil, and I've got some new oil to put in there. Let it sit up a little bit longer. This takes a PAG 100 for R134A series. This is 8 ounces. Touch more because I know I got some line in this container. Whoop. That ought to be good. Plug back in. It said to turn it up on its face, so the seals on the front can get coated. Clutch we don't have to do anything with. I'm going to start putting this in. I'm using the accumulator valve. I'm using the old switch. I don't think I was having any issues with that. So we've got 2 mounting holes, got 2 screws. Really need a hex screw, and I'll probably replace them. This is just all I got right now. You gotta have 2 O-rings. Goes on the back side. So on the back you've got 2 O-rings. It's the same size. In the pack it comes with 4 new O-rings. Taking these 2. That in there, I'm gonna take a lot of that oil and pour on it, and I'm gonna put it up on the pipe. And 10 minutes later, after I've dropped the O-rings, I finally found a new one. Do what I should have done to start with, and that was put them up over the pipe there. Or tube. All right. I'm gonna redo these. I'm gonna put some Loctite on and then put them back in. So I went ahead and connected the 2 lines back to the dryer. This bracket just screws in. There's mounted bolts back here. Or mounted nuts, I'm sorry. Right there. Where my bracket went. Let's see. Do it like this. Maybe we need to come around under here. Can't remember where it was. There we go. Tell you what, well, I guess it's alright. Alright. So the dryer's back in. The valve, whatever, accumulator valve, whatever you call that thing. I got the clutch left. This has been sitting there long enough. So what you do here, I think they call this the foot. Foot only goes on one way. So it's got to go that way. It's got to go this way. So I got the compressor clutch mounted on the compressor yesterday. Let me see what I did with it. Right here. That's 20 foot-pounds on this nut. It's got a tapered shaft. This pulley and the clutch came together, slipped down over it, put the nut on it, 20 pounds. I put 14 ounces of oil, it's PAG 100 in here. So I'm gonna get the bracket back on the truck now. I think these two are the bolts that go back in there. The bracket is angled. You can see it sits down right there. There's a number stamped in that block under it, but I don't know what it is. I guess it's the number for the block, maybe. Anyway, sits like this, angling up toward the air filter. Won't fit the other way. So I'm gonna clean these bolts up. Put a little never sees probably on them. We may put Loctite on these. Change of plans. I'm gonna go ahead and put the compressor on here. These 4 bolts. Mounts on the bottom. Unset this in here, then I can still get to these two bolts. It'd be harder to put the compressor on the truck than it is sitting here, of course, but each one of these had a lock washer. Hope all these holes line up. Dude, I'm gonna put a little thread lock on them. Yeah, I'm gonna put these on and we'll mount it on the truck. They've got washers down in here. That's a filler, I guess. So don't forget them, like I did. Now, got to find two washers to fit in these bottom bracket holes. Let me do that. All right, we're gonna set this back down on here and get the hoses hooked up. Still, that bracket is not light. Make sure I got everything turned the right way. I may have to turn it this way. There we go. This one may be easier to get started on this side. This compressor, when I took it off, was loose. This bracket was loose, rather. All right, I'm gonna get this other bolt and we're gonna tighten them up. I dropped the thread blocker under the truck. It's going, but slowly but surely. All right, we got the compressor mounted, solid. Fasten that down to there. That may be what my bolt is that I got up there, my unknown bolt, and it plugs in right here. And I've got the two lines on the back, and then we can hook up our vacuum pump and vacuum it for about an hour. All right, I got the wire plugged in. It just plugs in right here, goes down the valve. Got the discharge line. I got a new O-ring on both of these lines. Hoping this is the right spot. We should go on a little more than that to make it feel better. Well, let's see. Let's put the bottom line on first. I don't remember which one of these it was. Maybe that one. It's an 1 1/4". top line on. Discharge. I'm gonna see. That needs to be turned a little bit, one way or another. Maybe like that. So you can get to these test ports. The other one didn't have it. I call them test ports, whatever they are. Alrighty. Socket. I'm gonna turn this compressor since I got the lines hooked up now and turn it around about 15 times and get the oil, some of the oil out of the compressor. So whenever I do start the engine, I'm not gonna be having too much pressure in there. Okay, I'm gonna get my vacuum pump and hook it up, and we're gonna put a vacuum on the system. Went to town, I got a couple of new belts, and I've got the compressors on, hoses hooked up, tightened. I've got manifold gauges hooked up, vacuum pump hooked up. We're fixing to cut it on and pull a vacuum and see what happened. I think close this off first. Then let's cut the pump on. Boy, that thing sure is loud. Mercy. It looks like that's hitting that guard back there. I had never noticed that. Let me see if I can pop that out. That's just wonderful. If it ain't, I'm gonna take it off with them screws. Let me fix that first. Yep, it's bent. I just beat this back out now. Yeah, I can see across there like it's got a hit on something. Hey, nothing like working on brand new tools before you can use them. See if this is better. Yep. All right, we're gonna cut our valves on here. It's trying to make its way to vacuum. All right, so I close these two valves, shut the pump off, and I'm watching to see if I hold vacuum on him. I'm gonna leave it on there about 45 minutes, I think, and see what it does. So after about an hour sitting here, I really can't tell it's lost anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some Freon in it. So I was just fixing to put the AC, the Freon in, and broke. This clamps around the can, and I just like this a lot better than trying to do the other way. And I tried screwing the can into the yellow hose there, and it would not puncture the can, and I've had trouble with that before, and I just don't want to fool with that anymore. And the funny thing was, I was in a parts store not an hour and a half ago, well, a couple hours ago, talking about these handles, and the guy was in there saying, I don't want one of them green handles, use them one time and they break. And I'm thinking, well, mine ain't broke, it's done good. It broke. All right, so I went and got a little valve like so. Put the pressure of the can in there. I'm up to 70. No, not quite 70, 65. Yeah. So I'm gonna go crank the truck. Turn this back off. I'm gonna go crank the truck, and because I heard the expansion valve click, and so it ought to have enough pressure in there to read or activate the system. valve. If I let it go too fast, it just freezes up. Well, it's just gonna take a while. Pressure goes about 140.